Good afternoon, everybody. And for the first time in a long time, it's good to be chatting to you on an afternoon stream. We used to do these quite often, most weeks back in the day, but partly to help catch up with lost time. We've not been streaming for the last couple of Tuesdays, so I wanted to do a quick afternoon stream. Partly because we've seen so many new shirts. January and February are busy times for new releases, so there's a lot to catch up on. We will get through as many as we can. I don't think we'll catch up because if I remember correctly, we were on something like the 17th of January. So we've got a month's worth of releases, and there's been a lot recently. But we'll get through as many as we can, and it will mean that next Tuesday's stream will be a little bit closer to catching up. So good to be here. Good to see Ian. Good afternoon. Hope you're well, mate. To anyone else who's watching, if you're tuning in live, of course, do jump in the chat like Ian there. Get your comments in, get your questions in, and I'll be happy to answer them. And of course, as we begin to rank shirts, you can disagree or agree with my rankings. If you're watching this after the fact, if you're watching this later and it's not live, thank you for watching. And indeed, you can still leave a comment and a like on the video to support the channel. And of course, however you're watching, if you've not subscribed, you should subscribe, because there'll be content like this and loads more. We are in a bit of a quieter patch, but rest assured there's stuff on the cutting room floor that's been edited and plans for the rest of this year, which should be really sweet. Finally, I have a Patreon, and there's loads of stuff there. Most recently, I entered a competition to design the Augsburg, however you say that, Tina, their shirt, and I shared a load of behind the scenes stuff just for patrons, patron supporters, I should say. Let's get to the hot wall. Now, this is our tier list. It's looking a bit sparse, it's fair to say. Again, we last time around we got to the Vissel Kobe shirt. So what I'll do is I will just get us set up for day 3 of our rankings. And if we switch over to, we don't want to be on X, we want to be on Football Shirt Culture. Shout out to Football Shirt Culture. A great site for keeping up to date with the latest releases. They do a pretty good job actually of covering the majority of releases. We are up to here, I believe. Last time round, if you remember, we looked at a bunch of shirts, including the Vissel Kobe shirts, which I quite liked. They both ended up in our second tier, in the Flames tier. Hey JPR, good to have you here, my friend. Says can't be a good Thursday afternoon stream. I must say, guys, I have missed doing this at this time, and do let me know whether it's in the chat or the comments or just on Twitter or whatever, if this time works for you and the Tuesday evenings don't. I mean, I'm certainly still open to doing Thursdays either in addition or instead of the occasional Tuesday stream. And to be honest, you know, I'm very much happy to go with the flow or go with the majority. So if this is actually better for a lot of you, let me know, and I can certainly think about coming back to this, go back. Apologies, but I've not got my light set up, so I probably look a little bit dark, but that's okay. You're not here to see me, you're here to see some shirts. Mainz and their carnival shirt. How are we looking here? So this one follows very much a lot of the carnival tropes, you could say, with the colour scheme, the blue, yellow and red. Eric, good to see you, mate. Says this time works for your friend in Vancouver, and I watch live before going to work. Good stuff, Eric. That's really cool. Already some good feedback on the Thursdays. As I say, I used to do this, and to be honest, I do have good memories of doing it. My thinking was that the Tuesdays were potentially more popular, but actually, you know, maybe I've moved on too quickly from that. Anyway, let's look at mine. This carnival shirt, as I say, the colours, we see them on many carnival shirts. I do like kind of hoop shirts. I think, you know, it's interesting. You see the cuffs here with the much thinner hoops compared to the body. I'm not sure if that kind of combination works super well. I'm kind of left wanting thinner lines after seeing the cuffs. Nice back net detail, albeit relatively simple transfer in terms of quality. I think this one, honestly, I like carnival shirts, but this one doesn't excite me too much. It's a little bit too on the safe side. I think the plain white sleeves probably I should say so. I can't help him. Ian says, I very rarely buy any shirts, but there is a shirt release this week that, due to the sponsor, I'm all over. Let's see if we cover it today. Ooh. Now, sadly, I think I'm going to say we probably won't catch up to this week. We'll see. Maybe we will. Maybe if I get my head down and just do some real kind of power rankings, we might get there, Ian. But we'll certainly get there in the coming few streams. There has been some really sweet shirts. I can say certainly there's a couple of shirts which are on my radar, including one which I would happily rank in the Volcano tier. I mean, in fact, there's two shirts I can think of which I don't think we've got to yet, which are easily Volcano tier territory that have been released in the last couple of weeks. It's been a good couple of weeks. So this shirt, I do think it's trending towards the candle tier in my mind. Somewhere on this kind of the border between our second and third tier here. I actually think I'm going to bump it just into the counter tier, but the very top of the counter tier. We'll stick it here, and this is, I think we're also tracking brands as well. As you can see here, we've got just a little section where I'm ranking or kind of roughly averaging a brand's performance. So here I would say Jacko. Is it Jacko or Jaco? I think it's Jacko. We'll go with Jacko. I'm not great at pronouncing names. We'll stick them there. So I think that's the first Jacko shirt on the board. I'm having a look. I think it is. Of course, as they release more shirts, we'll slide that up and down. JPR says Thursdays are better for me, but no worries if Tuesdays are better for the majority. To be honest, guys, already in this first 10 minutes, I'm definitely convinced that we should do at the very least the occasional Thursday stream, and perhaps. I mean, I used to alternate it. Yeah, I do think there's something to be said about them returning. It's good to see some of you guys who I know for different reasons haven't been as available for the Tuesday streams, but it's at the end of the day, if I probably should just be streaming 2 times a week given the amount of shirts at the moment, and obviously we've still got eBay to get back to as well, so there's lots to come. But thank you for your feedback, guys, and thank you for those who are tuning in. Club Guarani. Now, these guys have had some decent shirts in recent years. They kind of came on my radar recently, given that they work with the brand Kyrios, who have been an excellent brand. I believe they're Paraguayan, as well as Club Guarani. I might be wrong, but Kyrios have certainly been building their reputation, and they're one of those brands which I think clearly, I think, are doing not just kind of fun designs, but the attention to detail, things like jot tags, which you often don't see. And look at this kind of, I mean, it's a bit stylized, isn't it, this photo shoot, but it's nice to see in the body of the shirt different kind of ventilation panels and things like that, which add a lot of quality and really help separate a brand from just being another run-of-the-mill football shirt brand into one which actually is quite nice. And both these shirts are very smart. And again, you look at that from a distance, you perhaps wouldn't really notice what's going on, but I really like what appears to be, it might even be embossed. I'm not sure. It's either embossed or it might just be the way the panels have been essentially constructed, and that it's kind of giving the impression of an embossed pattern. I'm not sure, but the aesthetics are good either way. Less certain about the panel here, the kind of mesh panel. Honestly, don't really like that, but again, it is a bit of a novelty. So that's a negative. But then jot tag on point. This area of the shirt down here, which is often left blank, but I really like things like this or inside net details. To me, that can add. It's a really good way of adding a creative element and help and something which can help tell a story. Trying to get my words out here. So overall, I really like the combo, and I think if we start with the home, again, there's things which I don't like, but I think this is much more than just a black and yellow striped shirt. It does help that I do quite like that as a colour combo, but this, I'd certainly say this is a Flames tier shirt. Maybe perhaps in the lower area of the Flames tier, but it's things like that subliminal pattern which, again, I really do think make this one quite attractive. And it's the kind of thing where, again, this is a club who they weren't on my radar until they started working with Kyrgios, which I believe was a couple of years ago. I may be wrong on that, but when I look at the rest of the shirts we've ranked so far this season, I really do think it's out of place somewhere in this area, and there is a nice big gap. So we'll go here for the Guarani home shirt, and let's kind of log that, because I don't think we've had a Kyrgios shirt either, so another brand to go on the board. So that's the Guarani home. Looking at the away, I think this is, as good if not better. Not 100% sold on the aesthetics of the pattern there. I can kind of take or leave it, but I don't mind having that, given that the rest of the shirt as well has this kind of nice paneling. It has that nice kind of fabric detailing, which I think it looks really good, and the gradient on the side, which I believe is the same pattern on the front there. That's nice. It's kind of a sort of gold tinge the way it goes from the black to the yellow, and we talked about the jock tag, which is good. So this one I think is right there. I'd probably say maybe just below the home shirt, but not by much. And I do think this is the kind of kit, again, which is, with all respect to Club Guarani, punching above its weight in terms of the team, like basically putting themselves on the map in ways which they perhaps wouldn't have otherwise been able to, and that's really cool. That's really good. And Kyrgios, again, if we something like here, let's go here, and then we'll stick Kyrgios on the board in a very, if I can get them there we go, in a very solid position. That's Kyrgios. As I'm saying that, I'm hoping I've not missed them. That's definitely going to happen, isn't it? I think we're good. I think we've got them. That's Kyrgios and Club Guarani. What do you guys think of the shirts? I think, again, they're really solid. The crest is quite a simple design, but it's nicely done in the plastic there. I think this is a really, really solid set of shirts, which can easily go under the radar. They're creative. They're certainly not run-of-the-mill. Love to see it. Now we come to Club Olympia. Now this is a team who are very, again, like Guarani, who have been increasingly on my radar. They're another team from Paraguay, so we're staying in Paraguay. But for a very specific reason, I've been really enjoying Club Olympia shirts, and that is their inside neck details. We talked about that just before. We talked about jolt tags, but when it comes to inside neck details, no one in the world does it better than Club Olympia, and that might sound like an exaggeration. I tweeted about this the other day. In fact, let's go to Twitter, and I'll have to scroll through, and I forget exactly when it was that I tweeted, so it could have even been, here we go. This is just a few examples from Club Olympia home shirts, and you can see here inside or back neck details, which are really nicely illustrated. Some of them, again, which are really kind of emphasising a particular story. Others, you've got the kind of success of the team. Specifically, we've got fans, but it's really, really, like, this is an area where the club have excelled, and it's really cool to see. The shirt itself, honestly, is quite a standard shirt. I do like the typically this kind of central band look is one that appeals to me, but I don't love Nike's template, and especially now we're kind of in the second main cycle, second kind of year where it's been used extensively. I must say, by this point, I'm kind of happy. I'm happy to move on, but again, the inside neck detail specifically is absolutely top drawer. I can't go too much higher than the candle tier, simply because I think the overall aesthetic of the template and the construction is lacking. but the detail is wonderful. So I do think, we've looked at some other Nike shirts, and again, on the strength of the detail, we're keeping it in the higher end of this tier. I have preferred some of the other recent shirts as well. So I think something like here feels about right, which is pretty much spot on or bang on where Nike have been so far. Of course, there's much more to come from the big brands and all the big brands. So they'll probably move up and down a bit as time goes on. But that's Club Olympia, and I'm excited to continue seeing their work. And again, the club's work when it comes to details I think it deserves recognition, and it's really cool to see. As if 2 Paraguayan teams wasn't enough, we have a third, Club Nacional, and these guys are with Kappa. We get not just 1 but 3. That was terribly done. Not 1, not 2, but 3. I promise it's not first thing in the morning here. It's 2:30 in the afternoon, and I am still clearly not quite with it. We've got 3 shirts, home and away and third. I'm going to assume this is the home, but I don't know for sure. Like many teams from Central or South America, we have an array of sponsors. It's kind of funny because, of course, having these sponsors in the full colour, we actually do have the colours in a sense match. You've got red and blue, albeit a different shade, certainly on the Continental sponsor there. Got a Coca-Cola sponsor, which is great to see. I think the overall look of this one is honestly a little bit naff. I think the combination of Kappa's very wide collar, which I do not like, and they've used it for different teams, some of their top tier teams even. Apologies. So I don't like that. I think this kind of distressed lettering, which is the same as the crest, I don't love it. I think it looks a bit tacky to me. I actually don't hate all this. The whole kind of sponsor thing. Yes, it's clearly a mess in terms of kind of it's cluttered. You've got a huge stack of them there. I, in many ways, don't often hate that. Strange as that sounds, I do think, at least from the European fans' perspective, there is a novelty factor. I talk about this all the time, guys. But I would say with this particular shirt, it's hard, even though there is that novelty factor, I do think we are probably looking at an Ice Cube tier shirt. There's not been many of them so far. In fact, we've only had 1. Okay, well, this is definitely the worst we've seen so far. I think if this was in a template which I was liking, you could probably see this a bit higher. But with that large, really wide neck, I can't look at that for too much longer. So that is the National home. Will the away and third be any better? We come to the, I don't know which one this is. We'll call it the away. Oh no, this is probably the third. We'll call it the third. This kind of highlighter orange, I mean, honestly, it's way better than the home. 1, of course, you don't have that really, to me, I really don't like that colour. It looks like a knockoff Nike's colour. But you've got, again, a better colour. The colour is what it is, but they have actually, sorted all the sponsors out, and that makes a big difference. And to be honest, yes, there's still a lot of them, but this to me is like easily something in the high candle tier. I think that, for me, it is a tier above the home. I can understand that, especially with that pattern, the distress pattern, that they were trying to do something, creative and interesting. But honestly, I'd much rather, at the end of the day, I'd much rather a shirt like this, even though it is, an alternate shirt. Something like that feels about right. I'm still not particularly ranking it higher, but we'll get there. And then what about the away or the third? Now this one is interesting. I don't love the colours. I must say this kind of maroon and kind of soft gold, not a huge fan, but from a design perspective, this one certainly has something about it. I've been quite drawn to shirts with alternating kind of gradient stripes like this. It's a really weird, random thing to say, but I was thinking about this more recently. in a piece I was writing, and I was reminded in this piece of I don't know if any of you will remember the Atletico Madrid, I think it was the 2018 third shirt, and it was from the series that Nike did. But anyway, the broad aesthetic of that one was these kind of similar idea with alternating stripes, like gradients moving from either end of the shirt. Basically, just as a design idea, I quite liked it. Now, coming to this shirt, the Nacional shirt, again we see the colours, the sponsor so recoloured. I just don't think it's a particularly attractive colourway and pattern kind of mash. I think, yeah, and perhaps it's just the case that, you know, we're not getting a good look at the shirt really in these photos. But those criticisms aside, I do think this is the best of the bunch. Not by much, but I would still put this above what I think was the third shirt, the orange shirt. This one to me feels about right, still in the counter tier, but again a bit higher. Something like this, I think something like there feels about right. And well, you know what, I'll go there. Only a little bit higher, but you know, that's Kappa. And Kappa so far have been doing very well based on this very, very small sample size. I am going to bring them down though, of course, because given that we have had another Ice Cube tier shirt and a couple in the counter tier, I think we're going to bring them much closer to the centre here. Still not in a bad spot. We will continue to track their progress. So that was the 3 Club Nacional shirts. We move to the next page. And let's see what else we can rank. Ian says a dark colour with gold trim always looks classy. I do think, as a general idea, yeah, gold as a kind of secondary or trim colour does have a lot of legs for sure. Now we come to good to get the first yawn of the stream out of the way. It's like clockwork. About 20-25 minutes into the stream. I think it's just because I'm talking straight for 25 minutes. It just seems to trigger something in my brain. It is getting very dark, so again, I don't have my lights up. I probably should have done that. You can tell I'm out of practice for these afternoon streams. That's okay. Well, can you? Yeah, no, you can see it. It's not too bad. You've got, now this is their Olympic kits. Okay, so we can rank these. I was going to say, as many of you will know, we're only including shirts that are worn on the pitch by teams, and we're not including anything leisure wear or anything which is kind of in that kind of mould. I'm also not including goalkeeper kits just to keep the list somewhat streamlined. I think we can rank these ones though. I mean, it is a bit of a can of worms potentially, especially if you see a design which is essentially the same but doesn't have the manufacturer's logo or doesn't have the Federation crest, but just has the flag, for example. But I think we will rank these because I believe they are going to be distinct. I might be wrong. We'll see. Let's rank them anyway because I do want to talk about them. So there's a lot of ways to achieve a buttoned collar or buttoned neckline. This looks wonderfully retro, but I do like the finished execution. It's quite interesting to see this striped element. Often, of course, with this kind of Grand's Egg collar or similar, you'd have the buttons, but it would all be with just the white placket. But here, having the bottom layer as the stripes, honestly, I think it looks really sweet. Yes, it's a little bit kind of obvious in terms of being very much a retro nostalgic kind of angle, leaning heavily into that style. But I honestly think the execution is good. Obviously, you've got the lines on the cuffs. The quality of the shirt looks somewhat lacking, I would say. It doesn't look particularly quality in terms of the main material of the shirt, etc. But honestly, I like it. I like the overall look, and I do think this collar, that neckline, is enough of a feature, really, enough of a distinctive element to really kind of carry the shirt, which is quite plain otherwise, it's fair to say. But overall, I think this is good. In terms of what it's trying to achieve, which is that retro aesthetic, I think it's done that well. Now we have to check which brand this is as well. It could be just in-house. Looks like it is. I think it is, isn't it? I'm not seeing a logo, and in the promotional material, I'm gonna assume this is. Let's go with the fact it's in-house. Now that will not help us for the brand watch, but that's okay. We'll simply stick them on there without a brand. Yes, I think this one. I'm feeling something in this kind of, again, mid to high candle. Let's go around here. We've not had many in this area, but I do think, you know, that feels about right. And then with the away, which we come to, very similar idea, of course, albeit with white. And it's interesting, especially with the away, it has the kind of this almost off-center look, doesn't it? Because of the white placket blended in seamlessly to the base. I like this one almost as much as the home. I'd probably rank it slightly lower, but not by much. And very interesting, of course, with the Olympics. Always an exciting year. I do enjoy watching the Olympics. It will be fun to see some of these kits. And again, with football, you've got things like flags often instead of Federation crest. I think that's often quite interesting. And for kit geeks like us, it's actually quite funny sometimes just to see. I mean, even like, there's been interesting examples sometimes of brands coming in just for teams Olympic kits. Think of someone like Uniqlo working with Sweden for I believe they did that for, when was that? Must have been the last Olympics, I think it was, if I remember correctly, and that was quite interesting. So that's Uruguay. We won't do the Year of the Dragon jersey for City because it's not a match shirt, and indeed the same for the Juventus shirt. But we will come to Victoria Park Vixens. Now these guys have been getting a lot of love on social media, and for good reason. They're one of what has become a string of sides, mostly lower league sides or sides outside the top divisions, who have been getting what many people have kind of called the Venezia treatment. And that is essentially, shorthand I would say, for Kappa kits which really lean into good photography, or make use, I should say, of good photography, and what I would say are really nicely crafted details. Things like bespoke numbers, really nice kind of chunky crests, and the kind of lovely very Kappa-esque styling of collar and cuff patterns or sleeve details, which have that kind of broadly nostalgic retro feel without being a direct callback. I must say, I think this shirt is excellent. And again, there is a discussion to be had around, are we reaching something of a saturation point when it comes to all these Kappa teams? Apologies. I think what I would say on that is that we should still try as much as possible to judge these shirts in isolation. Context is important, but I think, you know, if you were to show me the shirt, or if I'm looking at the shirt now and judging it in a vacuum, I think this is absolutely brilliant. Obviously the number, we have to talk about this because I think this styling is just brilliant. It's the kind of thing where, honestly, that in itself, that's for me is my favourite part of the shirt. But again, the crest looks really good. Like this sort of style of application, I think it's wonderful in the shiny gold. I really like the collar and cuff pattern. Kind of got the checkerboard effect, and of course the body is plain, but that's absolutely fine. I think it's actually a strong point. If anything, I prefer that, given how good the collar and cuffs are. They're the story. The number is very much a big feature. The colour is really nice. It's dark green, and I like the collar as well. I often complain or get frustrated about one button collars, but this has a nice amount of buttons. Inside detail is very simple, but I don't mind that at all. Guys, this is a high Flames tier shirt in my opinion, and yes, again, there has been a lot of discussion amongst the community around I would say this kind of Venezia, I think it's fair to categorize this in these sort of Venezia plus category of shirts which have received, again, that very, very specific or certain style of marketing. Ultimately, though, we should also consider the fact that these guys are a relatively small club, a local club in London. It's really cool to see a team like this getting celebrated. And ultimately, it's, again, this shirt is one of the better ones we've seen so far this year. In fact, I'm very, very happy to put it in this area. You know what? That makes it, at time of ranking, the second best shirt I've seen, in my opinion. The shirt I would, of the shirts I'd most like to add to my collection, how I would, the shirts that I've judged them based on my criteria, I really like it. And of course, Kappa, redemption after those Club Nacional shirts. Very happy to bump them up a bit more. I think this is great. And really, I think it's, again, we've seen a few teams who will get this treatment, but Kappa really do have, I think, a lot of, ultimately, I really think this is the standard more teams should be finding when it comes to showcasing your shirts well. It's not just about trendy photo shoes, but ultimately, there's bespoke elements here. There's, a real emphasis on design, which often you don't see on teams much, much higher in terms of the pyramid. So that's Victoria Park Vixens. I think an interesting conversation can be had there. But let's continue because we need to power through some more shirts. We've got pretty much here. Let's go to Universitaria. Now, I think I'm in one mind to maybe speed up my rankings for the next page or two. So let's do that. I'm going to do, and I've done this before. I'm going to basically go through it, trying to talk a lot less, which anyone who knows me knows that's difficult. While saying this one, whilst I can kind of take away the pattern, I really like that colour on the collar. That's one of my favourite sort of shades, this kind of pinky red. I just really like that colour. But again, we don't want to spend too long. So I'm going to make this one for Marathon at, I think we'll say high cannot here. Even though I'm trying to be a bit quicker now, guys, for this next slate of shirts, you can still chuck a comment in the chat. I'd be very happy to answer them. But again, I could probably do a 10-minute segment each shirt. That's how, annoyingly, how my brain functions. Also, Photoshop appears to have crashed. I hope I have not crashed. If I do, let me know. It's probably just trying to process. There we go. So that's Universitaria. Come on, guys. It's not really happy at the moment, it's fair to say. There we go. That's better. That's Marathon. Have we had a Marathon show yet? No, we haven't. There's going to be a lot of this in these first couple of months, and then hopefully we'll be ranking fewer and fewer brands for the first time. Not rare. Got Marathon. That is the Universitario. I believe that's the away kit. The Centenary away kit. Very interesting. Cello Portoneo. Apologies for my pronunciation. Looking at this one, honestly, I think it's pretty nice. Would like to see some more details here, but I do actually think, well, the size of the stripes, the shades of the red and the blue, and the size of the cuffs, honestly, I like that they're all a little bit chunkier. and I do actually quite like this one. I would probably actually rank this one in the lower end of the flames tier. Pretty good, I must say, even though it doesn't have necessarily anything particularly innovative. And I'm often quite cold on red and blue shirts in general, and we talked all about this with the FC Tokyo shirt, but I actually like this one even better than that. Well, let's go just above. And of course that's a Puma shirt, so we'll bump them up ever so slightly. University, nice upgrade on this Tanner shirt. It's nice fabric pattern and collar. Yeah, I do think University have had some real winners over the years, but that one, certainly I think is a nice step up. Honestly, I do think again, Marathon as a brand very much on my radar as well. Sao Paulo moving to New Balance, New Balance moving in. Nice touch here, internet detail. Just such a simple but big win, and I do think that yes, whilst you could argue this follows, a certain formula, which is hard to deviate from. I do think New Balance have really done a lot of nice things. I like the asymmetry. The collar, I can I'm not the biggest fan. I honestly would tighten up a bit, I think, and probably not have that little section, but nice details, and the internet detail is a real win. So this one I think is also in the flames tier, and I would actually be happy to put this one above, certainly. Well, I would say above the Patenio shirt. I think the details really do help. Swing this one just about here, and of course with New Balance, well, I really do think they are positioning themselves well to kind of climb back into that top 10 conversation. Well, they certainly were for a few seasons. About 6 or so years ago. They've kind of fallen by the wayside, but I like some of the work they're doing. I'm less excited by the away for Sao Paulo, but I think that's more speaking to the fact how much I like the home. I think when it comes to the away, even though I typically do really like this style where you've got the kind of triple coloured stripes or the stripes with pinstripe framing. I've still not found a good name for this, but it's typically Brazilian look anyway. That as a base style is nice, but honestly, having it cut off on the sleeves here looks pretty clunky to me, and I do think again this is actually a little bit too safe. The home had a nice approach to the typical Sao Paulo formula for me. This is something I'm less enthused about. So that's Sao Paulo away. I think this one I would probably say is more of a counter tier shirt, albeit in the higher end of the counter tier, but I would definitely take the home. This is an example. I feel like most of the time I prefer away shirts to home shirts. I think that's often true if you're neutral to the club, but nonetheless, let's go all the way here. I don't mind this one at all. And that, again, if we've got New Balance, I think we can safely bump them around there. Let's do a few more. Let's go to Tigres. And these guys are using one of the lesser used Adidas templates. I believe this is one of Adidas's kind of stock designs. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Almost has a kind of dragon feel to it. I can kind of take or leave this one. I think, as I say, I'm pretty sure this isn't bespoke to a team or anything. Were it bespoke, I think there's more of a conversation. So this is the volcano. So it's the kind of the stadium. Sorry, I believe it's called the volcano, El Volcan. So I would say with this one, I get it, and you can kind of see it, but honestly, I think I think the pattern doesn't fully. I mean, it has the sort of flame look, but I don't know. You know what? Looking at this again, I do get it, and it helps to know that story, but I can't be too excited by it. I feel like I would usually as well like this colourway more. Perhaps if it was a bit more orange, although it is fairly orange. I don't know. I'm very much feeling like a Counter t-shirt, which is, funny because this is based on flames, so or lava really, but nonetheless, I think we can safely put this one in the Counter tier. And this, of course, is Adidas. Now, as a brand, Adidas, there are few, if any, brands that have as many shirts or many teams as they do. You're going to see repeated patterns and things like that, but sometimes the patterns, like in this example, they're not widely used. So in that sense, I'm not too disappointed. Some templates aren't necessarily a bad thing, and there's actually a positive element, I would say, even to a template when it's used across a selection of teams, as long as there's not so much repetition that you have two teams in the same league, for example, wearing the same shirt, or two teams in the same rival teams. You would never want that situation. Volos FC, now this is from the brand Admiral, so that's really cool to see. Admiral, a brand who of course have largely been quite quiet in football, but they are still going. They have been around for the likes, for teams in the likes of Japan, for example. Looking at this is the home and away shirt, I believe. You can see a bit of a Venezia-esque look with the base there, even though this isn't Kappa. Just trying to look at this more. I think of the two, so if we take the striped one, I don't like this one nearly as much as the Churro Porteño shirt. Apologies for the pronunciation of that. Once again, to anyone listening, if you come to this Voller shirt, honestly, this one is much lower than, as I say, than the Churro shirt or Cerro. Again, this shows how bad my language skills are. We come to the Voller shirt. Something here feels about right, and of course, looking then at the look at the blue one. If that's the home away, I'm not sure. I do prefer this. I prefer seeing those pinstripes, and even though we've not really kind of captured it particularly well in this picture here, interesting to see the Admiral logo on the sleeves. A little bit cheap to me, that placement and sizing, but I would take this one above the striped. And in fact, I'm probably even going as far to say that this is more of a more in this kind of area, and I hope that's not just because there's a big gap there. But I do think something like that feels about right. We've got Admiral, and that is yet another new brand on the board. So we'll just find Admiral important, I think, really to particularly kind of track over time the very competitive pool of brands. Once you get past the big names, Nike, Adidas, Puma, etc., there's a huge cluster of brands. Some of them have a lot of history, like Admiral. Others are much newer, like Kyrgios, or at least newer to many people, newer to me. But it's interesting to see how some of the older names keep the pace. Sorry, I hope that wasn't too loud in everyone's ears. Keep the pace. Junior FC. This is completely bog standard. I would not be surprised if Adidas sold this shirt just off the shelf, minus the badge. It looks completely boring. There's nothing to it at all, and yeah, I actually think I would rank this lower even than the Nacional shirt. Completely forgettable. I would guess that many fans wouldn't hate this one, given that it is quite it's not offensive in any way. It's not particularly daring, but a lot of fans, especially if I assume they're used to wearing stripes. It's certainly in the crest. Assuming that, many fans are happy to basically be quite conservative when it comes to girders. But that, if you're going to get that from Adidas, or you're at that level of contract where this is the kind of thing you receive, I think you just need to get with another manufacturer. Basically, that would be my take. Now, did I rank again? Did I rank? Yeah, I did. I should not be. Man, I'm like forgetting things I did 2 minutes ago. Not good. Ian says Admiral have done some really good stuff recently. The Queen's Park special shirt with the coloured dots, and the Walthamstow William Morris shirt being two that's been inspired. Great examples, Ian. Really good shout on the William Morris inspired Walthamstow shirt. That one I think is particularly good, and I do think that one is going to be, well, it's a great collector's item for those that got hold of it. I certainly have looked at that shirt and thought that would be one to add to the collection. Now we come to a brand who I think have done a lot of good stuff in Roby, and these guys are Dutch, so they work with a number of Dutch teams, including FC Groningen. A very kind of sweet shirt here with the what looks like either white or very, very soft pink. It could even be an off-white, I'm not sure, but these kind of gradient pink and grey sections with black details. The overall look of the shirt is really nice. Again, they've recoloured everything well, such as the sponsors and the applications. I like the cuffs a lot, and I think this pattern, it's kind of fairly sparse, and you'd like to see a bit more on the back. I think a bit more of the pink on the back, but this has a really nice look about it. And this is the let's just check. They've released apparently this shirt is a collaboration with the Eurosonic Norderslag Festival. Couldn't say anything about it. Now I think they're going to wear it on the pitch, but we should check that to see. Yeah, I think it will be. Not certain. But anyway, overall look of the shirt is really nice. I think this one definitely has Flames tier potential. Yeah, I think somewhere here feels about right for that one. Pretty good. Oh, I forgot to move Adidas as well in light of the junior release. I think we should bump them down to around there. Also, guys, I know it's near the end of the stream, but my mic has sounded like it's going a little bit hot. If it is too loud, and I know I always ask this, let me know if it's too quiet or too loud. It's hard. I really do, want to make sure it's at a good level, but it is hard to balance, especially when I'm not. I'm not really able to get a good handle on it. Sometimes midstream, probably need to change my setup so that I can track that a bit better. Anyway. Groningen, I don't think it's a problem to have them around here. That's kind of how highly I'm thinking. Well, you know what? I'd actually go even higher. Let's go here. Something like that. And this is Roby. This might be the first Roby shirt even. Yeah, it is. Nice. Okay. Just double checking there. Yeah, I think this is first Roby shirt on the board. So we will... of course, for some of these brands like Roby, who won't have many teams in their stable, they've got every chance of being quite high up on the list. We had a similar situation last year with the likes of Diodora. And I think Marathon as well ended up pretty high last year. But that's Roby and Groningen. Now we come, speaking of as if on cue, Sol de America. And these guys from Paraguay, so it's been a feast of Paraguayan football. We've broken down a number of their shirts, and you love to see it. With these two shirts here, I think there's a lot to like as well. That pattern looks fantastic, and again, it looks like an embossed pattern, guys. I cannot speak highly enough about this style of pattern, because it takes what would otherwise be a decent but unspectacular pinch-top shirt to another level. And I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that this looks really strong. Not only the fact it is an embossed pattern, which I think adds a lot to the aesthetics, but just like pound for pound, looking at this design, this pattern, I really like it. It's that sort of level where it doesn't detract from the overall look, it doesn't steal the show or kind of become a distraction. It's very subtle, but I like these what look like kind of interlocking lines, swirls, stripes, a kind of combination of things, a bit of patchwork vibe, but I really like it. My only comment would be that the crest being a simple patch and the stars being fully sublimated, there are better quality techniques out there, but overall really impressed, and that pattern is just doing so much. I actually think this is another easy Flames tier. I don't think it's going to be far off the Vixen shirt. That's how much I like this one. And you know, we've seen some decent shirts from Paraguay today. I don't think we'll see many, if any, better than this particular shirt. It's definitely ticking a lot of boxes for me. So that is the is it Sol de America? Sol de America. A team I haven't heard of, honestly, before, but they are in good hands, it appears, with Diodora. And it's funny I did mention them because that is the first time. And they opened their account essentially in first place. Of course, a lot could change between, well, a lot will change between now and December, but really, really impressed with that. And if we look at the white version, looks to be, I believe the pattern's still there, but it's much harder to see. I think this one comes below the blue shirt, but not by much. Obviously, it's essentially just flipped in terms of look. I must say, I think this as a combo, as a home and away combo, is really sweet indeed. We will stick those guys in the Flames tier again. I think a fair bit lower in the Flames tier. We're talking something in the region of this Tunisia kit here. I think feels about right. Yeah, let's go there. Good stuff. Now, I just want to see, let's have a quick look at what else we've got coming up. Okay, nice. So, we've got a series of interesting shirts, and certainly, I'm particularly excited. I'll give you a preview. What carnival goodness? So Palmeiras. I talked a bit about these guys on social media before, but it's safe to say that they're going to rank very highly. And again, we've had a number of new shirts. The range of MLS kits, that's going to be worth ranking. Perhaps the one I'm most excited to talk about. I've got the Werder Bremen. That was great. I think you guys know what's coming. Again, this is a bit of a sneak preview, but when we get, and this will be a couple of episodes away, I think, when we get to Basel's carnival shirt, I really, really like this. What I'll do, guys, we're going to leave it there. So it's been a short stream, but next Tuesday we'll stream. Before Tuesday, I'm going to, and I've said I'll do this before, but I think I'm going to try and rank a bunch of shirts offline, so that we can basically catch up a lot more with new releases. So I'm thinking at least 2, if not 3 pages, maybe more. I'll see how we go. But obviously we've left it today with we just looked at Soldier America kit. So I'll pick up at some point off stream with CA Juventus, and then as I say, next Tuesday we'll stream, and I think we may very well do another Thursday stream next week. I think given the amount of shirts that we have, it wouldn't be a bad thing, and I've enjoyed this. I've enjoyed being back with some of you guys for the first time in a little while. And I do want to say thank you, because we've got a good number of people watching today. It's really appreciated. I really love just providing this for you guys. A little bit of entertainment, a little bit of content, and I really like hearing, especially even if it's like, it's in the background of what you're doing. That's cool. And thank you guys. Thank you for today. And I hope you have a good rest of your week. So for those who I won't speak to before next week, enjoy the rest of your Thursday and the rest of your week. Thank you for your company once again. And again, just to remind you, the plan is Tuesday evenings. Most Tuesday evenings we'll be here. We'll be live. And I think I'll confirm, but if not next week, the week after, we'll do another Thursday afternoon stream. And if that goes well again, we might even pick that one up a little bit more. Thanks for your time. Any final questions? I'll be here for another 30 seconds or so. But if not, it's been great to be with you. And I think in terms of other stuff, just to mention again, the much promised NFL NHL collection video is at the final stages of editing. It's taken a bit longer, and I had a few other projects which I had to push in front of that. Some bits of paid work, which naturally the YouTube stuff does unfortunately get a bit lost sometimes when things get busy, but we're not going to lose it completely. It's still there, and we've got, after that, there's a video to come reacting to the latest Euro 2024 leaks. So that's coming up as well. Robert, that is a really good point. I should thank you for that suggestion, my friend. Announcing streams on the pages. I should do that. I don't even know why I don't, to be honest. There's no reason not to. Thank you, Robert. That is something which I will do. Hold me to that. If I don't do that for the next one, or if I forget, make sure, remind me. But thank you, mate. Thank you, Eric. Good to see you, mate. Annie, and indeed, for your time and your contributions, guys. I will leave you with the outro scene, but it's been a good one. And till Tuesday, if not before, for my patrons, I'll probably speak to you guys before. But all the best, guys. Have a good one. Take care.